What's something you're curious about? Let's see. Well, we've been kind of broaching this subject, I feel like, but like what's something in society you're curious about?
Mm. I think one thing is why people fear quiet, quiet people, and just quiet in general, and that ties into a lot of what you're talking about because I think that there's like so much noise, which is like that's a theme in the book that I'm writing too. But I think yeah, like why people tend to fear quiet people and quiet, and I think it's for the same reason. I think it's because that it makes them meet themselves in a way. You know, it
Mm,
makes people um, have to sit with themselves and
yeah.
understand themselves. That I think a lot of people are just not ready to do that. So that's that's a huge theme that I've been thinking about because I've always been a little bit more soft spoken. I've always been more quiet individual, and I find that I've also been given feedback that I'm intimidating, and I wonder if those things are like if they're I think those things are part of the same thing because I mean I'll speak when spoken to and I'll give my opinion, but I think that yes, some people are intimidated by silence, but again, I mean, again, talking about projection and reflection like that is
Mhm.
that's their thing. You know what I mean? That's not my thing, a me thing. Um, I think the other thing that I've really been interested in is like systems of control. Um, I read a Voltaire quote, which is like it's hard to free fools from chains they revere. Um, and so I think that
Uh,
that's like a theme in today's world is that a lot of the systems of control aren't um, oppressive in a open way. They're oppressive in a sneaky
okay.
way, and the system that they're being presented in is comes through like a package that's like, ooh, this is nice, this feels good type of thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's something that I've been thinking about a lot. And both of those are themes that I'm exploring in my book. Um, but yeah, I think I'm curious about quiet. You know, I'm curious about why that's such an issue for people. Because I found that like especially with younger people too, that it's just so difficult for them to be in any type of quiet. You know, it's hard for people to sit in a room and just sort of like think about about different things. Like there always has to be the TV on or music on or some type of distraction or someone has to be there with them, you know? So that's something I've been thinking a lot about.
I've been thinking about I experienced this the other day, like choosing to not be on a screen, or I don't feel like compelled, like so I'm in my studio and I'm perfectly fine not being on my phone, and that is a very regular thing for me. I love silence.
Hmm.
Like what's your favorite sound? Silence.
Mm.
And the luxury, it's almost like luxurious
Hmm.
to not to experience that because the default is just noise, but I feel like it's such an advantage and it's this luxury, but this is literally what people experience on a daily basis. Like Mary Shelley, she's probably in silence most of the time,
Hmm.
and the only time you hear music is when you go to
Hmm.
like a harvest festival and there's
Right.
actually like someone with a banjo or like a some type of apparatus instrument,
Hmm.
and that's when
Yeah.
you hear music. Your life is pretty much in silence up until like the 20th century, it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah.
um and now it's something that was the default is now like luxury.
Mm.
And that juxtaposition, I think a lot about.
Yeah. And then you have people who will like, I think it's strange because it's like, then you have people who, like, I had a friend who lived in New York for a really long time, moved out here and was like sort of like in the suburbs, and he would play music or play ambience from the city. And it's like because he was so environmentally
Oh
tuned
yeah.
into it, you know what I mean? Or like during the pandemic, I knew people that worked in restaurants and they couldn't work in restaurants anymore. So they like their system was almost like set to have this sound. So they would find like they call it walla, um, which is just like background noise from a restaurant, and they would play it while they had dinner, you know what I mean, just to like
Wow.
get that experience,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So it's like now that we had that have that in our lives so often, what's the withdrawal look like, you know what I mean? And it's interesting to see how people are different with that. Like certain people like you, like me, might really enjoy silence when we get it, but there's other people that just can't, their system can't do it, you know? So that's interesting to me to think about.